all split up and nowhere to go. I'm going to speak more on this subject, but before I do so, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem El Shai, Bashem Dash, the honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to the whole full that scattered abroad at the corners of the earth. So yeah, you'll see the headline. All split up and nowhere to go. So this has been a topic that's been in the news as of recently regarding the cost of living in New York City. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a little bit of this article. I have no more one bedrooms right now. None. A real estate agent named Rena told me on the phone one cold February morning. She had just sent me to her last option, a one bedroom in Prospect Heights facing an interior courtyard that had the dark, cramped feel of a back office. Rent was $2,400 a month plus a broker fee. Now the average person, they really can't even afford that. $2,400 a month for an apartment. It's not even a house, it's an apartment, and you're paying to rent it. I work from home, I told her, and it was a little depressing. She filled in, sad, I get it. So I'm not even gonna read too much more of this article. Let's jump to this headline right here. Average rent for New York City one bedroom apartment. And as you can see here, these prices have jumped dramatically. All right. And take a look at the areas too. You got Williamsburg, Upper West Side, Chelsea. These are all areas where predominantly white people live. You see, white people, they have a dilemma. There's really only but so many places that they can live in the city. They don't want to live in a hood with Jake. You're not gonna see them trying to live in a damn projects. You know, they don't want to live in these bad areas. Hence why they have something called gentrification. And gentrification is something that takes time. It's a slow process. And they really have done just that throughout the city. When you take a look at places like Harlem and Brooklyn. And so when you take into account inflation and the value of the dollar going down day by day, you're going to have prices like this to live. And then you also have to remember Yusuf. He has his plan and his agenda. You see, he wants to strengthen the economy, starting from the top, trickling down to the middle class and to the lower class. And when you kill or shrink the middle class, rather, that's when it all comes crashing down, because the middle class, they help keep the top of the class, the rich, afloat. All right. And so when rich people feel like their pockets are strained, then they don't want to take any more risks to open up more businesses and things like that, and therefore they can't employ people that are beneath them. So this is all set up to keep you subservient. They want you to come to them for the want of all things. And this is also gonna play in with the with the potato chip, or the charagma, or the MOT to the B. All right, Revelation 13. This is also gonna play into that, because guess what? When you're not subservient to them, when they administer it, and you're not listening to them, and you're not doing what they want you to do, or playing by their rules, they're gonna cut your water off. You're not gonna be able to play ball in this man's system. So we're seeing how things are playing out, and we're seeing how things are lining up. And you also have to mention um, the increase in food prices. All right, and of course they're blaming this on what we're seeing going on over there in Europe. With that situation, and you have experts weighing in on it, saying how this this conflict is going to affect the whole world globally, as far as food being distributed. So, these are definitely the last days that we're living in. All right. This place is spiraling down the drain from top to bottom. And again, this is all by design. There's something called a reset that these elites speak on. So this is Habakkuk 2 and 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. So Esau, the so-called white man, he's done just that. He's increased his riches by taking it, by taking what was never his. All right, think about it. How did he even get the land of Manhattan, or this whole country rather? He got it by taking it from others. And the key point that I want to focus in on this verse is the thick clay, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. So when you look up that word thick clay, the word clay, in the Hebrew, it means depth.
Strong's H 5671, Avtit,
Aptit or abat, yeah. And it means weight of pledges, heavy debts. So let's go back to that verse. Woe unto him that increases that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay or thick depth. So this man's system is pretty much predicated upon debt. All right, with his fiat currency. Here it is. He wants you to pay these ridiculous prices for these places to live at. All right. Meanwhile, the value of the dollar is going down. The economy is shrinking. You have to take into account the price of food. The price of other things going up, and people are starting to complain, and they're wondering how they're even going to be able to live. This situation is affecting everybody really, but it's going to affect the people that have the least amount of money the most. All right. And guess what? When it really gets real out here, when all hell really breaks loose, and when Esau administers his MOT to the B, guess what? You're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna line up and just be subservient to him, and then just gonna get with the system just so that they can eat, because they're not gonna see a way out of this situation. All right. And at the same time, you're gonna have people that aren't with it. Starting with the elect. Those that are privy to what this man's agenda is, they're not gonna bow down to it. And so there's gonna be consequences with that. All right. The scriptures speak about how, they're gonna have those that are be cast into prison houses, all right, concentration camps. Some are even gonna be put to death for this. So that's how real it's gonna get out here. Shoot, the least of your concern is gonna be figuring out how you're gonna live in a nice neighborhood or a nice apartment. You understand? When you can't even get food because you're not bound down to the man's system. Take into account also famine, diseases, pestilences. All right. I'm not going to speak more on that. I'm not going to speak too much on that. But if you're paying attention to the news, if you're privy, y'all know what I'm talking about. This devil, he always has a trick up his sleeve. He always has an agenda. We get another scripture. James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. And these rich men that it's talking about is the elites, Esau, starting with the top bankers, top banker families. Those are the real rich. Those are the trillionaires. We have the front rich people like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. When really you can't even compare those types of people to the elites, because at least they got old money. They got money that goes back to slavery. So they've been rich, and they have a lot of you know land. They have a lot of assets. They have gold, which gold is real money. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. Ye shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. So we are living in the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields. This is speaking about the people that are under Esau, all right? That have worked for Esau, that have labored for Esau, all right? Slavery has to come into mind when you read this. And you have something called modern day slavery. When you go to work, you're really working for Esau. They're paying you pennies or dollars on the hour, all right? So we have modern day slavery today, all right? You're working for the man. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And we are kept back by fraud because Esau pays us in his dollars and his currencies, which are devalued, all right? And the system is like I said, is predicated upon debt. We're told all our life to go to school, go to college, take on some debt. Um, when you're in a jam or when you're trying to get a house, go to the bank, take on some more debt, so that you could pay the banks back their money, which they gave to you. All right, so it's like a revolving door of just fraud. You understand? And if you don't pay your debts, there's a penalty. Some have to file for bankruptcy. Others get their wages garnered. All right, and try not paying your taxes. There's something called tax evasion. You know, you can get locked up for that. And the cries of them which have reaped and entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanted. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. So this is speaking about Esau. Keep this in mind. You have condemned and killed the just, and does not resist you. And the so-called white man has done just that. When you look throughout history, they have all the pleasures of the earth. All right. Again, take a look at these prices. These is all areas where predominantly rich white people live. All right, and it's gonna get to the point where they say, "To hell with it. We're not gonna pay this. We're not gonna pay these ridiculous prices. Uh, we'll just move someplace else, or we'll take a loss someplace else. We'll cut back. We'll take some cut back on another area, so that we can afford where we live or the way that we want to live." And so this is all gonna have a trickle down effect on people throughout the economy. And again, this is exactly what the elites want. So that's pretty much all I have. I'm not gonna bring out any more precepts. So anyway, I hope y'all found this video edifying. Shalom.